In a world built on transformation, it's often the unseen elements that power the pathway of human progress. From the materials that fortify mobility to the innovations that shape sustainability, companies like Epsilon Group are reshaping the future of humankind at a molecular level. Let's meet the man behind the mission, Vikram Handa, who is the managing director in today's episode of C-Suite Conversations. Marksman Daily presents C-Suite Conversations. Hello and welcome to another episode of C-Suite Conversations. With me today is Vikram Handa, who's the Managing Director of Epsilon Carbon. Vikram, thanks for taking the time to chat with us today.
Thanks a lot. Happy to be here.
So, Vikram, taking a lens to the past before we turn our gaze to the present and the future, could you maybe pinpoint some pivotal moments in your entrepreneurial journey when it came to founding Epsilon Group and the future trajectory of the company?
Yeah, I think when I started the company in 2011 as Epsilon Carbon, I also envisioned it as a company that can maybe touch a 500 crore turnover. And that was maybe my dream back then.
Yeah.
And as we went along the journey, setting up our first coal tar distillation plant and then forward integrating, I think I saw opportunities where we were in a certain segment and I could see both my raw material supplier, the steel industry, and the aluminium industry also growing, and me being right in the middle as a key player. I think there were a lot of opportunities where the segments were growing and I saw opportunity to capitalize. And then there were challenges also to scale up and technology and speed. But at the same time, I think some amazing opportunities when I look back. And kind of the ethos of the company that grew was how to forward integrate, how to continue to do value adding, and how to really be a low cost manufacturer. That's what I was looking at. I don't think we want to be the cheapest product in the market, but we want to have a real focus on quality and cost. And I think we've managed to do that in the last decade or so.
So, Vikram, Epsilon Group operates on the cutting edge of innovation. But when it comes to pursuing this kind of sustainable value and balancing the immediate pressures of externalities such as the disruptions posed by Trump's tariffs, how do you navigate that? How do you balance those two?
Yeah, so if you look at our businesses, if you look at Epsilon Carbon, both our specialty carbon and carbon black business, this is a larger B2B global bulk commodity play. So it is, again, manufacturing at a very efficient cost. What can you do around circularity, utilities, byproducts, green power? These are the focus areas that help you really be in this business, because there'll be a cycle. It's a cyclical commodity business and you have to come out of the bottoms, stronger always. When you look at our battery materials business, Epsilon Advanced Materials, that's really where innovation is cutting edge, and we are looking at high performance battery materials. I think and I always, in 2019, I created two separate companies, because I said, while I might be leading both, but the DNA I want in both are very different. One is scale and cost, other is really innovation and be cutting edge, right? So Epsilon Advanced Materials are both our anode and cathode business, is really where we are focusing on technology. Yes, countries like China have huge scale, they have a head start. But again, I really feel that this is a more tech platform kind of company, and we manufacture with large scale manufacturing. So I look at the business like that, and I think if you have a focus always on technology and what customers are looking for and innovation, you will be a market leader in that space eventually.
So Vikram, Epsilon Group finds itself in a very unique position for vertically integrating its anode and cathode materials for lithium-ion batteries. How do you see that entire piece playing out when it comes to being a global supplier for this critical component, for this critical ecosystem?
Yeah, so it's a super interesting space, and I was having a conversation earlier today with someone who said, I said, every 2 weeks, the world turns upside down. We think we should build in India, then some policy changes or customer requirements, and then we say, no, let's build in the US first. But we are focused to build India and US in the short term, and eventually a plant in Europe as well. So when we look at these businesses, we see more that what are customers looking for. When I mapped out the journey on our battery materials business, I always said that the first is we have to develop tech where we qualify with customers, we give them what they want. Then we have to commercialize it, give them the comfort that we're building and giving materials at a commercial scale. Then industrialize, right? And to industrialize, what do you need to do on permitting? What do you need to do on engineering? So this is what we've been doing in the background the last 2-3 years. And I think that is where we are today. when we're looking at this business, about 1.5 million tons today is made in China. The rest of the world makes 11,000 tons. A country like North America itself today has about a 500,000 ton requirement. All that is coming mainly out of China. When we looked at India as our home ground and where we want to build, we see that India as a customer is not ready for us.
Right.
You know, we've seen in the past 5-6 years government policy talk about FAME 2, PME drive now. While they've been very good at vitalizing and moving two-wheeler, buses and ACC PLI on cell making, but like nothing has really moved at the pace the government wanted, and it's up to industry to invest and build industry within India. So this segment, this industry is very difficult to time if you think about it. Is 2025 the year to have capacity? Is 2028 the year to have capacity?
So hard to tell.
Very hard to time. So we look at that we want to build in India for rest of the world. So we want to build in India, be very cost competitive, be very strong at execution and cater to external countries like Korea, Japan, North America and keep 20 to 30% for India as small customers start. And then India will grow.
And then the scale comes in over time.
And then we grow. If we keep waiting for the market to mature, we will never build. So we looked at India that let's build in India for rest of the world, but our focus is India for India. So the plant we build in North America will be for North America. India will be for North America or Korea. And then we will pivot that everything North America will be for North America and India will become for India. We see huge demand in India in anode and cathode. And we've been in this space last 6 years, developing a technology, scaling it up, commercializing it. Today we're qualified with the top, I would say 5 global cell makers internationally. And they want to buy from us, right? And this is the stage we are at. And hopefully by end of the year, we should break ground to start building a facility in the US and early next year in India as well.
You spoke a little bit about building in India and for the world as well. How do you go about positioning India as a global hub for this critical ecosystem? What are the kind of challenges that you foresee having to overcome?
Yeah, so we talk a lot about EVs because it's maybe more touch and feel every day you see it on the road. But I think in India, the great customer is energy storage. Because today you've seen solar and wind deployment over the last decade and it's exponentially only increasing in India. And you see a lot of capital flowing into that space. You see a lot of large private equity checks promoting solar companies to build more and more in India. And solar has become something in India that is like the market has realized a cost and it is much more cheaper than buying solar power than it is buying grid coal-fired power. So the market dynamics themselves have kind of moved ahead and today people prefer solar. But that solar needs storage. So I think in India, next 5 years, energy storage is a great market. It's already established, your customer is sitting in front of you. Cells should be made, systems should be made for energy storage. And obviously, the same materials go into EVs as well, but that takes a longer time to qualify. Two-wheeler, four-wheeler, bus adoption is still scaling up. So I look at energy storage in India being a big market. Last year, India imported about $3 billion worth of cells, right? And it's increasing almost $1 billion every year. So one is like there's an addressable market. Somebody should build cells in India and obviously source raw material from India for India. I think their government policy has been very good, talking about a domestic value add. So they're encouraging people, look, we're going to subsidize you, but make sure you buy locally. I have not seen that forthcoming attitude from customers yet in India, unfortunately. They still see, look, China's there, it's easy, it's cheap, let's just buy it from here. But this is a journey, and I tell customers, if it's cheap, you should buy it from China. I would also, but buy 10-15% for me. Keep me as a supplier, keep me in your supply chain. Because there's a lot of geopolitical challenges as well. And if that tap shuts someday, you should be able to open my tap and buy more from me.
That is such a prescient point because we are seeing this shift, even companies as monolithic as Apple, Google, and they're moving their supply chains over to India. How do you see Epsilon tapping into that piece?
So that way, I think maybe the US customers are a bit more. They've understood the risks. They've evaluated the risks at a larger level. Last 2 weeks ago, China banned the export of rare earths. Suddenly, you start seeing, hang on, where are we going to get rare earths from? And the US policy and funding and government talking about it.
It's very sticky.
Yeah. So if you look back the last 15 months, 2 things that the Chinese put export restrictions on, not a ban, was rare earths and graphite. Actually, graphite is not allowed to be exported from China into India even.
And they are dominant players in the supply chain globally.
There are only them. So if I'm a customer and I'm spending say $2 billion building a gigafactory in India and I need graphite for my supply chain, and tomorrow China says I'm not giving it, I can't go pay $1 more and go buy it from Europe or Australia. I'm heavily dependent. So that's why I tell customers, enjoy it while you can, and I would also, but put Indian companies into your supply chain, not just companies like us, but others also that are at our stage in cathode or electrolyte. Encourage this ecosystem to develop, and we are there with you on the journey. And to be honest, India is doing a really good job. We have good companies in separator, good companies in electrolyte, anode, cathode. We have great companies in foils. So if you see almost every product that goes into a cell, you have 2 or 3 companies, whether startup or large corporate, that are trying to get in.
Yeah.
They should be encouraged. They should be put into supply chains, I feel.
So on a personal note, just to round things off, looking back, was there any piece of advice given to you as a younger professional, maybe at the start of your career, that you would like to pass on to somebody today?
No, I think I lean on a lot of people for great advice. I'm fortunate that I have great business coaches or great, like say, industrialists who have helped me also along the journey. I think one of my best pieces of advice, and I try to give to people, is it's just important to say no as it is to say yes.
Yeah.
You know, I think a lot of time when you are a high growth company, everything looks like a yes. And you start thinking and you start believing that everything is a yes. So I think that is one thing where sometimes it's good to say no and focus. I have a cupboard full of business ideas and things I studied for a long time. And I'm very happy that I don't say yes to all. I'm happy to gain a lot of knowledge and say, you know, this is not my time for that. I think today where the businesses that we are in, and each of our business, we're trying to create this circularity. So just on a carbon business, like we are manufacturing carbon black, we're getting into tire recycling.
Yeah.
We are into anode and cathode, we are into battery recycling. So the goal is in 3-4 years, how can we make our own parent businesses circular?
You're plugged into everything.
Yeah, but you know, still to our core. So I would not do a hospital project, a highway project, you know, like these are not our DNA.
It has to resonate.
Yeah, and I still like brick and mortar, and I like building like manufacturing facilities. I find it interesting.
Okay.
I think India has an opportunity to bring the best of the world here, whether you bring technology or you bring technology partners. But like I think India as an ecosystem has a lot to offer, and I still like brick and. I know like other people like raising money and apps, and there's a quicker journey there, but I still like brick and mortar. And I think my goal in the next 2 to 3 years really within the company is to see how to develop talent. You know, we are growing and there are opportunities to grow vertically and laterally. And my focus is now, I think I have a great team. They've been with me some as long as 10, 12 years.
Right.
A lot of team members are new as we're growing. So where is the opportunity to go along the journey, not just as a company, but as individuals also? I think that's my focus the next 2-3 years as we move ahead.
I think it's wonderful that people are building in India, not just India, for the world. That's what we perhaps all should aspire to. Vikram, thank you so much for taking the time to talk with us today.
No, thank you. It was great. Thanks.
Innovation isn't always loud. Sometimes it hums quietly in the background, enabling industries to thrive. And my conversation with Vikram Handa revealed how companies such as Epsilon Group are creating their future with essential foresight and clarity. Thank you for watching this episode of C-Suite Conversations. I do hope you enjoyed it, and I'll see you in the next one.